Welcome to Nevada Newsmakers. On the program today, the Senate Majority Leader, Ray Hagar, has the rundown.
Thanks, Sam. Today's guest is the big kahuna, Senator Bill Raggio of Reno, the Majority Leader. He's got more juice than the governor. He's the Caesar of the Senate in the Silver State, and the only man to ever burn down a cat house.
And coming up on the Power Pundit panel today, Connie McMullen, Mary Lau, and Daryl Capurro. It's all coming up next on an all-new Nevada Newsmakers.
Nevada Newsmakers, brought to you in part by the Tahoe Reno Industrial Center, the world's largest industrial park, the resort at Red Hawk, and the Peppermill family of casinos.
Here at the Tahoe Reno Industrial Center, just 10 minutes east of Sparks, we are constructing a 16-mile expressway connecting I-80 to Highway 50. This expressway provides direct access and will make it much easier to get to work. A direct route for employment opportunities. From 100% fiber optics to clean, reliable power. Welcome to the Tahoe Reno Industrial Center, the largest industrial park in the world, building economic prosperity for Nevadans.
The resort at Red Hawk offers you two great dining choices. Experience David's Grill and Sports Bar or the Steakhouse at Red Hawk. The Steakhouse has received the Wine Spectator Award of Excellence based on a diverse selection of fine wines. To accompany the wines, the Steakhouse serves certified Angus beef steaks in a variety of cuts, fresh fish, chicken, and pasta dishes. For fun and casual dining, come to David's Grill and Sports Bar. David's is open 7 days a week, serving breakfast, lunch, and dinner. The resort at Red Hawk. Always the right choice.
As an employer, did you know you can be held liable for negligent hiring? A background screening by Employer Links can uncover criminal records, like alcohol and drug convictions. It can verify the applicant's education, driving records, and professional licenses. Employer Links can check civil records, registered sex offender records, and Social Security fraud. Hiring the right person shouldn't be a gamble. Call Employer Links. Employer Links, protecting your investment.
My family started this business 27 years ago.
We work hard to serve our customers and our community.
But it's getting harder and harder to keep the doors open.
For example, our workers' comp is going through the roof. Isn't anyone on my side anymore?
The Retail Association of Nevada is. If you're a small business owner, we can cut your workers' comp by up to 50%, lobby for your interests, and keep you informed. Put us to work today.
This is Nevada Newsmakers with host Sam Shad, a no-holds-barred political forum. Now, from the Nevada Newsmakers broadcast headquarters, here is Sam Shad.
And back on Nevada Newsmakers, we're joined by the Senate Majority Leader, Bill Raggio, who is all fired up and ready to go.
Good. How are you?
Good.
Good morning, Senator.
Good morning, Ray. Sam?
Senator, let me talk about education funding. Education, both K-12 and higher ed, takes up 53% of our state's general fund. And we're looking at, in K-12, that we're falling further and further behind in our scores, and No Child Left Behind. At the university level, we have all these remedial classes. Is the taxpayers of Nevada getting their money's worth?
Well, are they getting fully their money's worth? Probably we could do better. But, on the other side of that, we've come a long way. 6 years ago, we introduced the Nevada Education Reform Act. I was one of the principal sponsors. We put standards in place and assessments, accountability, long before the federal law and No Child Left Behind. So we've come a long way. Do we have more to go? Yes. We're never going to be satisfied until every child in 4th grade can read and that 100% of people graduate. So we're doing far better, particularly here in Washoe County. Our rate of students who go on to college is very high. We're very high here in Washoe County. Clark County has serious problems, a lot of English language learners. We have issues that many other states don't have. The reason our NAEP, N-A-E-P measurement was down somewhat this year, the standard has now been elevated for the cut scores that are considered for passage and what schools are making adequate annual yearly progress. So, yes, we can do better. We need to address your issue about remedial programs at the university. They shouldn't be necessary. That should be done in the high schools. And already we're talking about not admitting students, for not giving scholarships for remedial programs, doing that at the community colleges. So yes, we can do a better job, but I think we're doing an effective job.
Okay. You know, one of the things that concerns me, even though obviously I'm a big supporter of education and want to see the best for our state, but from a fiscal point of view, do we have a target, or it seems to me we're just saying we want more, we want more, we want more, we want better, higher salaries for everyone. But it doesn't seem that we have an actual goal, an actual place we're trying to land.
Well, we're trying to land so that every child in 4th grade is going to be able to read, because if they can't read at 4th grade, then they can't do any of the other subjects. They can't achieve. So that's our goal. That's also the goal of the federal law. Do we have to have benchmarks on salaries and things of that kind? Probably, to some extent. But, you know, using surveys where you stand nationally, I don't think is the best measurement, because it's a moving target. Do we want teachers that are well paid? Yes. Do we want to be able to retain teachers? And I think we do. Unfortunately, in our state, our growth is such that we have to hire more teachers per capita, more new teachers than we can produce in our state. So 70% of our teachers now, particularly in southern Nevada, have to come from out of state. So we've got pretty hefty goals, and we're working toward them. I don't think it's all bad. I think we're really making some progress.
There are several members of your caucus up for re-election, including Senator Tiffany and Barbara Sikaski. Do all the members of your caucus who are up for re-election have your 100% support?
Absolutely. And that's a policy of our Republican Senate caucus. We support incumbents as long as there's not some real bad issue out there, and there aren't any at this point in time. Yes, we're supporting all of those who are running for re-election.
And do you?
And that has my personal support.
Okay. And do you envision any primary challenges at this point?
That's always feasible. Yeah, I think it's likely. I think you have those whether they're organized or not. Under Nevada's system, anybody can file, so there'll be primaries.
Senator, in the legislature, you're somewhat like the Caesar of the Senate. You
wait a minute.
The majority
can you
leader?
smack somebody on the air?
Yes, you can, sir.
But my point is, Senator, is you're both the majority leader and the finance chair. And when the legislature reconvenes in 07, do you plan on sharing that power, maybe giving one of those?
Well, unless, yeah, I would assume that. You know, that's not new. Senator Gibson, a Democrat, held both positions. So did Senator Brown. It's not a novel idea.
So you're going to keep with the
well, I don't look ahead to the next session. I don't lose sleep about those kind of things. That'll shake out for itself. Our caucus, whoever it is at that time, whoever's elected, picks the majority leader. The majority leader picks the chairs. And, you know, I think it's important to put people in those positions who can best serve.
And if it's you, then so be it.
Well, thank you.
We'll be right back on Nevada Newsmakers after this.
For a videotape copy of any Nevada Newsmakers program, call 775-857-2244. The tapes are $20 each, including shipping.
Since its creation more than a decade ago, the Southern Nevada Water Authority has focused on 3 goals: preserving water quality, improving water conservation in Southern Nevada, and meeting the community's current and future water needs. Through thoughtful planning, responsible management, and collaboration, it's succeeding. As we move into the 21st century, the authority continues to embrace sustainable water development and efficient water use. That's our promise to Nevada.
I tell you, John, this industry has really changed.
Tell me about it.
You seemed to do pretty well last year. What's your secret?
No secrets. Although I'll tell you something. The smartest thing I did was sign up with Pro Group Management.
Really? Yeah, they do workers' comp, right?
Yeah, their services are great. And get this, they saved me 30%. I've heard they saved others 50%.
That works for me.
Pro Group Management. Finally, workers' comp that works for you.
Reno's best dining values are all at one casino, the Pepper Mill. You can enjoy great savings on our popular specials. Pepper Mill's coffee shop offers daily lunch specials, low-carb dining, and all your favorite comfort foods. You'll find sensational lunch specials featuring Reno's freshest seafood, sushi, pasta, and more at Oceano. And early bird specials at Reno's Premier Steakhouse and Romanza Ristorante Italiano. The best values are at the Pepper Mill. Where are you dining?
Many of the materials we rely on every day come from the ground, and modern mining technology brings them to us cleaner and safer than ever before. To learn more about America's natural resources, visit nma.org, the National Mining Association.
And now, back to Nevada Newsmakers with Sam Shad.
And we're talking with State Senator Bill Raggio, the Senate Majority Leader. Senator Randolph Townsend was on the program a couple of weeks ago, and we were talking about how the sales taxes are just continuing to surge, the gaming taxes are continuing to surge. We just had the rebate. Do you support Senator Townsend's idea of rolling back the taxes passed in 2003, including the bank tax, payroll tax, et cetera?
I generally support some rollback, but I want to make sure that we are meeting the needs, the real needs of the state. That's why I haven't supported these proposals to put something in the Constitution for rigid limits, because I think I think the legislature looking at it every 2 years is the best way to control that. You know, if you don't like that, you can vote your legislator out.
Right, but wouldn't you agree, though, that we are collecting even greater amounts of tax monies on those two taxes than we were in the previous 2 years?
At times, yeah, we are. But I also need to look, as chairman of the Senate Finance Committee, at where we are in dealing with a lot of these critical issues that we have in our state. I don't want to have wait lists in mental health and mental retardation. I don't want people who have those kind of needs waiting 6-8 months to get into a program. I want to make sure that we fund those adequately. On many of those lists, when you look at us nationwide, we're way down at the bottom, and that's not acceptable. So if you put artificial limits and cutbacks and rollbacks until you analyze those needs, I think it's irresponsible.
But do you envision that there would likely be a rebate out of the next session?
I don't know that. I can't measure the economic forum projections don't accommodate a rebate at the moment. And remember, that was one-time money. That's not a continuing program.
But we are still collecting those taxes, though, in excess.
Well, I get the reports every month, and we have some dips in them. When we get to the next session, which is more than a year and a half away, then we can evaluate that. There'll be a new governor, whoever that is, he or she can, I think, make that kind of a proposal.
Interesting that you should say that. Who are you supporting for governor?
I am not particularly supporting anybody. I think we have good candidates. I will support whoever is the Republican nominee for that position. We have 3 people at the present time, at least, maybe more, in primaries. And, when the primary is over, I'll support the Republican nominee.
And so you have no concerns about any of the 3 people who are running?
I'll probably give them each a check. They're all very competent people.
Okay, fair enough.
Senator, when you sit down to write your memoirs, if you do, I was curious.
I'd probably be senile by then.
How do you recall the time where you burned down the Mustang Ranch brothel when it was owned by Joe Conforti? Have you talked to Mr. Conforti since he's been in exile?
Not in a long, long time. No. That's a minor part of my career as a prosecutor. I was a district attorney for over 18 years here in Washoe County. That was a very minor
Seemed like
part.
A big deal back then, Senator, torching the cat house.
I guess, remember that was done with a court order. It was abated as a public nuisance and had a lot of other things involved besides just that. No, I think that would be a minor part of my memoirs.
Do you ever see Mr. Conforti coming back to the United States and confronting his
I wouldn't have any interest one way or the other.
I was going to say, you'll be very happy if this line of questioning stopped right now. Let me change this
up. It doesn't bother me if it doesn't bother you.
Well, that was a big thing when I was a kid when you torched that
I'd hate to
Senator.
think that after over 50 years in public life, both as a prosecutor and as a legislator, that's one thing I'd be remembered for.
I don't think so. A small part, perhaps. How large should the rainy day fund be? Is it?
Well, it's near $200 million right now, and I'm not sure that's adequate. I think we ought to, because we only meet every 2 years as a formal legislature. I think we ought to probably increase it a little more. After we saw what happened with natural disasters such as Katrina and other areas, $200 million, if your revenues stop all of a sudden because of some interference, that doesn't go too far. So we need to be ready for anything, particularly a terrorist activity, which could, blow our whole tourism economy and our revenues apart. So, I think we need to keep it at least that level and maybe add to it.
And what kind of percentage? Maybe double it?
Oh, I don't know. I think that as we go along, maybe add $50 to $100 million more to it.
Let me ask you this. Because of the state's financial condition, there were some good things that came out of the last session. Which was the one you were most proud of?
Oh, that's hard to tell. Last session, we worked very hard on property tax relief. That took part of the early part of the session, and we did put a cap on billing, which I think was the real concern about the public. Beyond that, what we did for education at higher education levels, both capital improvement projects, I think was important. What we've done to ensure that the Millennium Scholarship continued was important. What we've done with Homeland Security were also significant. Energy, I don't think I have a priority list, but it was a tough session, and, we had to work hard at it.
And will there ever be an easy session? I don't think so.
Not anymore, particularly if we're going to meet every 2 years in formal session. The growth of this state is such that, particularly in our area of education that you asked first about, we need to keep right on top of that. We need to make sure that we're doing enough to guarantee that the young people in this state are going to be adequately educated and prepared for life.
And that's where we got to leave it. Always a pleasure to have you here, Senator. Senator Bill Raggio. We'll be right back on Nevada Newsmakers after this.
This is Nevada Newsmakers.
This is one of Sierra Power's main generating plants. It's right next door to the Tahoe Reno Industrial Center. These plants provide all the clean, reliable power that businesses need. TRI has 3 independent power generation facilities on site. For sensitive manufacturing companies and high-tech firms, this benefit is invaluable. Welcome to the Tahoe Reno Industrial Center, the largest industrial park in the world, building economic prosperity for Nevadans.
The Nevada Beer Wholesalers encourages the responsible consumption of beer. The Nevada Beer Wholesalers Association are sponsors and participants in many community-based efforts such as school education programs, safe ride home, recycling programs, alcohol-free after-prom and graduation parties, safe boating campaigns, and designated driver programs. They are family-owned businesses employing 2,000 Nevadans. They also collect and pay the state excise tax. The Nevada Beer Wholesalers Association, delivering more than just beer.
The resort at Red Hawk offers you 2 great dining choices. Experience David's Grill and Sports Bar or the Steakhouse at Red Hawk. The Steakhouse has received the Wine Spectator Award of Excellence based on a diverse selection of fine wines. To accompany the wines, the Steakhouse serves certified Angus beef steaks in a variety of cuts, fresh fish, chicken, and pasta dishes. For fun and casual dining, come to David's Grill and Sports Bar. David's is open 7 days a week, serving breakfast, lunch, and dinner. The resort at Red Hawk. Always the right choice.
For more than a decade, the Southern Nevada Water Authority has been helping the community embrace conservation as a way of life. That includes replacing more than 50 million square feet of grass with water-smart landscaping. During the worst drought on record, watering restrictions and tough landscaping codes have reduced the community's water use by billions of gallons, even as thousands of new residents were moving into Nevada. That's smart water management, and that's our promise to Nevada.
And now, back to Nevada Newsmakers with Sam Shad.
And we welcome to the Power Pundit panel today Mary Lau, Executive Director of the Retail Association of Nevada, one of our proud sponsors. And Daryl Capurro is here. He's the Nevada Motor Transport Association's Managing Director. And Connie McMullen, publisher of the statewide Senior Spectrum newspaper. Welcome to all of you. First of all, any comments, Mary, on Senator Raggio's comments here on the program?
I like Senator Raggio's comments. I'm sure it'll be very, very cautious. And following up in the conversation of Senator Townsend's tax rebates and stuff, the senator is very, very cautious about committing to give back some dollars and stuff. I don't know how high the rainy day fund should go as far as that goes, but and I don't see any concern really with him being finance chair and majority leader, because if you've got a horse out there that knows the program and does it well, why should you just replace him because he's good somewhere else too? I mean, there's not that many people that know the budget, and it's going to be training for when Senator Raggio's no longer there.
And he made it very clear that he is supporting all the members of his caucus for re-election.
I found that refreshing. I like that.
All right. Comments, Daryl?
Yeah, I think there's no question about that. Senator Raggio attended a fundraiser here in Reno the other night for Senator Sagavsky from Las Vegas, and he made it plain in conversations that evening that he was supporting the entire Republican slate with respect to the Senate. Makes sense, too, because he can't afford to lose any Republican senators and still hang on to the majority.
Interesting, his comments about mental health, I thought.
Very interesting. Mental health has done very well, and it could do even better because it's been largely ignored for so long. But there's other issues on the board, too, that are human issues. Medicaid is going to be a big issue. Seniors flatlined their budget last session. Nothing went for them. We have the largest growing senior population in the country. We are. And so there's a lot of issues to be dealt with, and I think he was conservative. He understands that, and it was very, I think, wise of him not to say commit to any particular spending of the budget, because it's like a living thing. How do you know what's going to happen a year from now?
Well, one of the things we know a year from now is that we're going to have a continuing problem with funding our roads. How bad is the situation, Daryl?
Well, the situation continues to get worse, Sam. Basically, I testified before the first joint committee of Senate and Assembly Taxation and Transportation Committees that at the very beginning of this last session that we had a $100 million hole to fill starting in 2007. Since then, the governor has named a Blue Ribbon Task Force and has asked me to serve on it, and I am, in which in the first meeting the Nevada DOT presented a proposal that would show a $3.8 billion deficit in the 10-year fiscal years ending in 2015. To put that in perspective, that's $380 million a year. The gas and diesel tax, even if you increase them 10 cents each, pretty tough to do in this day and age, that would only produce $150 million a year. So, I fail to understand where we're going to come up with the other $230 million that would be needed just to address the second tier of super projects and to continue our maintenance program.
Okay, so Mary, you got some thoughts on where we get that?
In reality, we came into 2005 session over $800 million. Now, $500 million of that went to increase the budget for Governor Gwynn, and then $300 million was rebated back. The rebate, like Senator Raggio said, is a one-time rebate. Maybe that needs to go on the highway fund instead, because you're not going to raise taxes. I mean, I don't know a legislator around that's willing to look at that now, but that doesn't mean that you have to give back the money that in small increments really didn't help anybody, as opposed to the roads being corrected.
Well, it helped the governor. He came out of it looking really good, rebating that money.
Well, I guess that was the intention. He had his signature on the check for the first time in Nevada history.
But also, you have to understand that public transportation, both up and down the state, is facing an overwhelmingly big problem with ridership because they cannot plan. There's not enough money for fixed route service or even paratransit service to meet the ADA responsibilities of the Olmstead Act. And then in the mid-states, including White Pine County, where the counties have to make a federal 2080 match to have public transportation, it's not there. The counties can't make it because of declining population, lowering tax base. They just can't. And last year, the strategic plan for seniors recommended that the state legislature allocate $700,000, a measly $700,000 for the rural transit program. We did not do that. We did not get that in the governor's budget. So when you talk about the smallest dollars, yes, the large problem on the statewide transit network is a big problem, but we're talking about small amounts of dollars just to help people get to a senior center in the rurals for a meal or to get to a hospital, which you know is the density. It's so distant.
All right, so what does this do to TASC, for example?
Well, if TASC was to pass, the way I understand it, and it's still in making some changes since the Colorado vote, because Colorado didn't throw out
They suspended it.
They suspended, which was part of the law to begin with. The law said if you want to suspend it, you go to the people. So Senator Beers, I understand, is adding another rainy day fund into TASC, and as long as it's part of the budget and part of the plan, it's fine. It's an emergency fund and a rainy day fund. So they're adding money for that. But right now we're overproducing revenue. And we can take some of that overproduction and solve some of those real problems on people getting to work on time or getting to hospitals or anything else without raising dollars and putting it as part of the budget to the highway fund.
I also understand, though, that Tabor in Colorado doesn't have a protected highway fund as Nevada does. And I understand from Senator Beers that his initiative proposal would exempt the highway fund from those situations. And we haven't had a tax increase since 1991, so we certainly
we'll talk more about this, but we're out of time right now. We'll be right back on Nevada Newsmakers after this.
Nevada Newsmakers, brought to you in part by the Tahoe Reno Industrial Center, the world's largest industrial park, the resort at Red Hawk, and the Peppermill family of casinos.
South Reno's hotspot for food, fun, and friends is the Tamarack Junction. Enjoy great food 24 hours a day in the Dining Car Restaurant. For a quick bite and the best sandwiches in town, it's the Whistle Stop Deli. And for the best appetizers and menu selections and a large variety of cocktails, beers, and martinis, it's Sully's Sports Bar, Grill, and Nightclub. The Tamarack Junction is your junction for fun. South Virginia and Amati Ranch Parkway.
And as always, we want to remind you that you can watch Nevada Newsmakers 24 hours a day, and we hope you do at NevadaNewsmakers.com. And coming up tomorrow,
Sam, we have Clark County Commissioner Lynette Boggs McDonald and Dr. John McDonald, the president of the UNR Medical School. They're not related.
We'll see you on the next show.